My name is Theodore Roosevelt, and I was once the dashing 26th President of these United States of America. I was in office from the 14th of September in 1901 until the 4th of March in 1909. My Vice President was a Mr. Charles W. Fairbanks. My previous duties including being the President of the Board of New York Police Commissioners, a member of the New York State Assembly, and then the Minority Leader of that very same Assembly. I later obtained a position of Secretary in the United States Navy. I retired from that position in order to take charge of the 1st U.S. Volunteer Cavalry Regiment, the Rough Riders, during the Spanish-American War. From there, I became the voice of my home state as the 23rd Governor of New York. Running under the Republican Party, I became the Vice President to Mr. William H. McKinley in the March of 1901. 6 short months later, I was moved to the presidential position when Mr. McKinley was stricken down by a fatal assassin. In 1904, I was re-elected by a landslide, no longer being a political accident. I had many accomplishments on the home front. I believe too much power had been laid in the hands of corporate America and was given the nickname of the Trust Buster. I kept business moguls such as J.P. Morgan from gaining monopolies over an industry. Taking the side of labor over management, I intervened in the coal strike of 1902, suspending the strike. It never resumed because the miners were offered more pay for less hours worked. Also in 1902, I created the Crater Lake National Park in Oregon, and in the span of my presidency, I set aside 125 million acres for national forests. After Upton St. Clair wrote about the unsanitary practices of the meatpacking industry in his novel The Jungle, I strongly supported the Meat Inspection and the Pure Food and Drug Acts in 1906. These laws required the government to inspect meat and protect consumers from food and drugs that might be dangerous. My foreign policy remained vigorous throughout my presidency. In 1903, I attempted to negotiate an agreement with Colombia to allow the building of the Panama Canal. They refused. A rebellion began in Panama. The United States aided Panama in gaining independence from Colombia. From there, we created a treaty to gain the canal zone in exchange for $10 million in annual payments. The canal was finally completed in 1914. In 1904, I added the Roosevelt Corollary to the Monroe Doctrine. This stated that the United States would intervene in South America in the event of instability. From here, I became famous for my quote, "Speak softly and carry a big stick." I also helped the United States win the adoption of the Drago Doctrine, which prevented the use of force in collecting foreign debts, an issue increasingly important as the U.S. became more involved with other countries. In 1905, I mediated the Russo-Japanese War, which won me the Nobel Peace Prize on December 10th of 1906. Though I accomplished many things as President of the United States, I did have some failures. I was very good at choosing battles in which I could win. This is one reason why I never tackled the issue of racism. I had wanted to institute a system of simplified spelling, but this was rejected by just about everyone, although I did not view this as a major defeat. I also failed in being elected as the mayor of New York, but I was elected to governor at a later date. In 1912, I had decided to run under the Bull Moose Party for a 3rd term as President of the United States. I failed in this as well, and resorted in sailing to South America for a hunting expedition. I held a very successful presidency and can leave you with only one quote: "Do what you can, with what you have, where you are."